When I was 16 years old, I met a teacher who changed my life forever. Her name was Miss Elena. She was not just a teacher, she was a light in my darkest days. I was a quiet student who always sat at the back of the classroom. I rarely spoke, and I never believed I was good enough. English was my weakest subject, and every time the teacher asked me to read, my hands would shake. On the first day Miss Elena entered our class, everything felt different. She smiled warmly and looked at each student as if we truly mattered. When it was my turn to read, I stood up nervously. My voice trembled, and I mispronounced several words. The class began to laugh softly. My face turned red with embarrassment. But Miss Elena gently raised her hand and said, "It's okay. Mistakes mean you are trying." Her voice was calm and kind. She asked me to read again, this time slowly. She helped me pronounce each difficult word. Instead of feeling ashamed, I felt supported. After class, she called me to her desk. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she said, "You have potential. I can see it in your eyes." No one had ever said that to me before. From that moment, something inside me began to change. Miss Elena had a special way of teaching. She didn't just explain grammar rules or give homework. She told stories about courage, failure, dreams, and hope. She believed that language was not only about words, but about feelings. One afternoon, she asked us to write about our biggest fear. I stared at my blank paper for a long time. My biggest fear was simple. I was afraid of failing in life. Slowly, I began to write. For the first time, I poured my heart onto the page. The next day, she returned our papers. On mine, she had written a long comment. She said my writing was honest and powerful. She told me I had a natural ability to express emotions. I read her words again and again. It felt like someone had finally seen the real me. After school, she started giving me extra books to read. I practiced reading aloud every evening. My confidence slowly grew. I was no longer the silent student at the back of the classroom. I began raising my hand and answering questions. And every time I tried, she smiled with quiet pride. As the school year came to an end, I felt both happy and afraid. Happy because I had improved so much, and afraid because I knew I would soon leave her class. The final exam approached, and I studied harder than ever before. On the day of the results, my heart was beating fast. When she called my name, I walked to the front. I had received one of the highest scores in the class. For a moment, I couldn't believe it. The shy boy who once feared reading aloud had become confident. After the lesson, I stayed behind. I wanted to say something important. Finally, I said, "Thank you for believing in me." She looked at me with pride and replied, "I didn't make you successful. You worked hard. I only reminded you of who you are." Those words stayed with me long after the school year ended. I realized that what I felt was not just admiration. It was deep respect and gratitude for someone who saw my hidden strength. Years passed, and life moved forward. I graduated from university, and inspired by her, decided to become a teacher myself. On my first day in my own classroom, I felt nervous, just like I once did as a student. I looked at my students carefully. Some were confident, but others sat quietly at the back. I recognized the same fear I once carried. And in that moment, I understood my true purpose. Whenever a student makes a mistake, I smile and say, "It's okay. Mistakes mean you are trying." I give them the same patience and encouragement that once changed my life. I never told Miss Elena that I loved her. But the love I felt was pure gratitude. She taught me English, but more importantly, she taught me confidence. Plus, if this story touched your heart and helped your English listening practice, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.